everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. I'm Jason Harmon, and in studio today I have Mr. Dave Gabbard, our Region 1 Information and Education Coordinator from West Tennessee.
Or as I call myself down there, the Minister of Propaganda.
There you go. All right. Yeah. We got us a jokester in the house today, so everybody hold on. It's going to be a good show. So, anyway, there's a lot going on in Tennessee right now, and it's a good time to be outside. Turkey season is still going strong. You've got one more week for that.
1 week. Of course, it's been a little wet out there.
Yeah.
And it was a strange year, I know, in West Tennessee because everything was like 2 to 3 weeks early.
Yeah.
You know, with the warmer weather we had. And it was almost strange. It was like we never had a winter this year.
The birds were gobbling early.
They were gobbling early.
I haven't seen many at my house here lately. I've seen more before the season started than I have now. But.
It was, and most of the turkey hunters that I know are still out there that, they've killed birds, but maybe trying to get that, last bird for their bag limit.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, talking with them, as the old expression goes, they're henned up.
Right.
So,
yep.
Best advice I can give somebody that's, kind of a novice turkey hunting. If you're going to kill a bird right now, it's going to be up in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Because these hens, they're starting to nest. They'll be out there with the gobblers in the morning and stuff, and then they'll slip off mid-morning and go, lay an egg or sit on the eggs, and next thing he knows, he's looking around like, where's everybody at?
Where'd she go?
So if you call at him and get him to answer you in the morning, just stay there, because when he looks around and goes, well, where's everybody at? He goes, oh, I remember one right over there.
Right up the road there. We'll go that way. But yeah, it's turkey hunting in West Tennessee, that's what's unique about Tennessee. You've got, 3 grand regions or, our 4 regions within TWRA. Each one's distinct. So, we got the flat bottomlands over in West Tennessee. You've got a few hills and ridges and stuff once you get close to the Tennessee River. But we're more affected with this, rain, high water. It's like the Native Americans said about West Tennessee. They hunted all over the place, but they didn't live there because they said the land leaked too much. So, we've had a good turkey season though, as far as records and stuff.
There's been some nice birds killed. A young man,
Cord Maddox,
up in Henry County. I seen a report. Killed possible state record.
Yep. I think he's like a half a point away or half inches away. I don't ever how the scoring works, but anyway, it's close.
The pictures I've seen, it's what the old timers call a limb hanger. Those spurs go out and they curve. Mm-hmm. They said they used to kill a bird like that, and they just hang him upside down on a limb.
There you go.
By the spurs, and they just sit there and swing. So, but it's been a pretty good turkey season.
Yep. So just remember, 14th is the last day. That's
right.
May 14th, and you got about a week or so away. So. Fishing's good.
Fishing's good. Of course, the rain that we've had several days ago, it seemed like it just sat there for 3 or 4 days over West and Middle Tennessee.
Right.
That might affect the river levels. Of course, everybody in West Tennessee, when they think fishing, they think crappie fishing, and of course Kentucky Lake. And that's one of the big changes, when they'll look at their fishing guide this year.
Right, that's on page 4. All the new reg changes.
Stuff. Of course, the creel limit went to 20.
Right.
So it had been 30. So and it's a good idea to look, at the guide and see, because the reservoirs in West Tennessee, we kind of have a hodgepodge of different, because the crappie on Kentucky Lake. Or creel limit of 20,
right?
Link limit of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, drop down to Pickwick Lake. Behind the dam, it's creel limit of 30 and link limit of 9 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have all the tributaries and stuff along the Mississippi River, and see that's one of the things that we don't have the big reservoirs except for Kentucky and Pickwick Lake.
A lot of people in West Tennessee, around the Memphis area, they go to Mississippi, fish those big Corps of Engineer reservoirs at Sardis and Arca-Butler and Enid and all that. So but we do have a lot of small, and that's one thing about our lakes. The TWRA family fishing lakes. We
State
have
lakes.
out of like 13 of them, we have 9 of them located in West Tennessee.
There's a lot of them out there.
And that's not to say, and some of them have, real good fishing. In fact, I've got some, just in the county I live, 2 of the, smaller lakes, Maples Lake and Browns Creek up there on Natchez Trace. And, of course, Natchez Trace, the Browns Creek, our fisheries guys have shocked up, in their data sampling a couple of years ago, bass in the 17
some big ones
pound class.
Yeah.
And at that time, it'd probably been a new state record. But in fact, one of that lake, funny story about that lake, I've been with the agency 34 years. I started out as a wildlife officer over in West Tennessee and spent 14 years in enforcement. And the county there that I worked, Henderson County, the local bass club, I always had a spring tournament. And you could fish, any of the watershed lakes or, the water in the county, which have several lakes to choose from. And it was kind of funny on one year about a guy who was fishing one of the Beach River watershed lakes, caught a bass that was like 12.9.
Right.
And I was watching him at the weigh-in, and it's like, hey, big fish. I got this big fish bite, 12-pound bass, 12-pound. Well, there was one guy there from Lexington that went out Browns Creek, and he caught one bass out of Browns Creek, and it weighed 13.1.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny that it produces, and that lake has always produced some big fish.
Yeah, and what other fish can they catch in those state lakes?
The three, the triangle is catfish, triangle cat, of course bass, and then bluegill and red ear. Red ear is what the old timers call shell crackers down my way. So, so that's a lot of people are looking for a place to maybe crappie fish. Well, we don't put crappie in our smaller impoundments like that. When you talk to our fisheries guys, they just they don't do well in
they don't do as well,
in small impoundments. But good thing about our state lakes, especially the big trend now, I see them out there, is kayak fishing.
Right.
Is the good thing about our family fishing lakes. There's no wake speeds on them, so you can go out and fish out of a canoe and kayak. I do a lot of fishing out of a canoe when I have a chance. You're out there fishing, so you're not worried about one of these big 20-foot tournament boats with a 250 horse motor on it
running about 70 miles an hour.
roaring around a bend or something that might cause some water, some wakes and stuff that you might not
put a little more water in your boat than you want.
So that so it's an idle speed only. So it's got and most of them are smaller impoundments, 600 acres, 900 acres.
Can you put a motorboat on those?
Oh yes,
but you have to keep it at idle speed.
But it's idle speed only. No way.
You can do trolling motors, of course. And then, is there a fee? What's the fee for? Is there a permit that you have to have?
Well, that all depend. If you have a sportsman's license or a lifetime license, that's included.
You're covered, right?
Right. And then if you do not have, you just have the regular combination license, and are between the ages of 16 and 65. There is a lake fee.
Right.
A lot of them, about I think 3 or 4 of our lakes will have what we call concessionaires. We'll have a bait shop, somebody that will sell a fee,
and that's handy.
And that is real handy, and they sell bait and stuff. And then the other lakes that do not have a concessionaire, it's kind of on the honor system. There'll be an envelope
in a drop box that,
Right.
and also some of our lakes, we have boat rentals. They can, people do not have a boat.
Little flat bottoms or
Yeah,
canoes. and
mostly
things like
John
that.
boats, 14-foot,
Yeah.
wide bottom John boats.
Easy to paddle around. in.
Yeah, and some with the concessionaires, they even will have maybe trolling motors they'll rent out. So, it's so it's a good place if to go fishing, take your family fishing,
Right.
and
Good place to get those kids started.
right. And of course, we've had one of the lakes at just a little south of McKenzie, Tennessee, Carroll Lake. It was taken offline about 3 years ago when we had one of these massive rainstorms. In fact,
Knock that dam
it
out,
was
right?
it was right before Free Fishing Day, and we'll probably talk about Free Fishing Day here in a
Yeah,
little
we'll need
bit.
to hit that.
In fact, we had Steve McAdams, one of the better-known Kentucky Lake guides. He has a rodeo that he sponsors on Free Fishing Day at Carroll Lake, and cause he worked there, as a youth, and kind of got his love for fishing and stuff. So we were setting up, the bleachers and the tent and everything.
All right.
It was like it was either Thursday or Friday. I think it was a Thursday. And storm come up, and it dropped. It was either between 11 and 14 inches of rain
Wow.
in a span of about 4 hours. And it was amazing to watch that lake come up. It rose, probably 15, 16 foot in matter of
Wow.
of a couple of hours, and came over the dam.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this lake was built back in the 40s,
Right.
and the water control structure, the gates for the dam, were original
old.
stuff. So it couldn't stand the pressure, so it blew them out. And
And that's what caused it to drain.
that's what caused it to drain. And so it was, our engineering division, fisheries, looking at it and stuff to finally to repair
Right.
the gates of the dam and everything, and they got them repaired earlier this spring and have them in place. And the water's, the lake is full. That's the remarkable thing about that lake. The
That's good.
watershed. That's one of the few lakes that our fisheries crews, they don't put any fertilizer in that lake because the water out of the watershed, there's so much water
Mm-hmm.
that comes through there, it wouldn't do any good. So my understanding is that 2020, it'll be, as we say, back open for business. So,
Okay. Cool.
and they've been doing did a little structure work around around the lake a little bit. So,
And if you live in Carroll County or in that area and used to fish that lake, there's another opportunity pretty close by.
well, yeah, Carroll County Lake, they have a new recreational lake that
Right.
the county built, came online 2 or 3 years ago. In fact, I did a story on that lake for the magazine years ago because it took them. People say, oh, well, it don't take long to build a lake,
Right.
And so, from the first idea they had about that lake till it became a reality, though, it was like 14 years it took them.
Wow.
Because that is when you build a lake like that, and people these counties talk about big lakes, I always thought, well, have you ever heard of the word mitigation?
Yeah.
Which means if you're going to cover up wetlands, you're going to have to go find some wetlands to buy,
Mm-hmm.
to take that place. It's kind of a mitigation bank that,
Right.
all our environmental guys in that division, they can tell you all the ins and outs of it. But
Right.
but the Carroll County Lake was around 1,000 acres, and I think they had to go find 1,100 acres of wetlands
Wow.
from landowners to buy.
And what's the regulations on that lake? Can you run motorboats on it?
Yeah,
too?
it's that one is a you can power boat on it. It's
Okay.
ski,
Wow.
personal watercraft. So it's a big recreational lake.
Awesome.
So
Well, let's move on. We got a few more things we want to hit before time runs out, and So just remember Free Fishing Day. That's coming up on June 10th.
June 10th, our way, and they can go to our website,
Right,
the agency website,
TWRA.org.
and look, all the events across Tennessee is listed.
Be listed there.
And I know down our way, we'll have 25, 26 fishing rodeos for the kids.
Easy to find a good spot to go.
That day.
Stock catfish most of the time in those areas.
So, of course, I'm involved in one that we have in Germantown. We call it the Mid-South Junior Fishing Rodeo, which is probably the longest running rodeo, more or less, in Tennessee, because it originally started 50-something years ago by the late outdoor writer Henry Reynolds with the Memphis Commercial Appeal. And then when Henry retired, Larry Ray, who has retired, was the next outdoor editor, and he kept the tradition, and so Larry's involved with we moved it to Germantown now, and and we still, instead of we just have a one-day rodeo. It used to be that rodeo would run 3 days. They would have sessions.
Wow.
So.
And that Free Fishing Day kicks off Free Fishing Week for all those
for the youth.
For the young kids.
Yeah, and Free Fishing Day. It's kind of and a lot of people always thought Free Fishing Day, well, it's the first Saturday in June. Well, no, it's not the first Saturday in June. The formula, if I understand correctly, that they came up in the law that formed Free Fishing Day, it's the first Saturday after the first Tuesday in June. Now, how they
just check your fishing guide.
Yeah, just check your fishing guide. How they came up, how they consulted the Oracle or something, and how they came up with that. But I always say just check the fishing guide.
That's the new fishing guide right there, and it's on the front page. It actually on the cover it says Free Fishing Day June 10th, and then your new regulations on page 4, and the Free Fishing Days on page 13. Right. So just get your guide and check that out, and that's the best way to keep up with that.
And but what has amazed me over the years, with the agency. And like I said, I've had 34 years with the agency, 20 years in position in information education in West Tennessee, is the improvements in technology. Mm-hmm. This is just fantastic. People have to realize I started in the information section. I used to type the news releases on typewriter.
What's that?
And then I would hand it to one of the secretaries in the office, and she would proof it. And then she would take it and have to run off the old mimeograph machine. She'd type it on a stencil and then put it on one of the old machines with the drum and the ink.
Wow.
And she'd run off like 300 copies and then have to staple all of those together, because most times the news release was about 2 pages.
Yep.
And then have to have an older machine with addresses, that were stenciled in metal, address labels with all the media outlets and agents people they was going to. So I'd hear her back there going, co-op, co-op, co-op. And then after that, she would have to run them all through the postal machine, to get ready to mail. So
things have changed.
Things have changed. Now it's just, you type them all up and hit, spell check.
Spell check fixes it for you, and then you
fixes it up, and then you get everything. And he said, okay, well, put it in a file, and then pull it up on your email, and just go to your address book, and
there it is,
and just tap a button.
Yep.
What would take 2 days now takes about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Technology is taking off, and then the world of social media is even making it easier for getting that information out there.
It's just kind of instantaneous now, but probably social media, a few weeks ago, supposedly, bear sighting in West Tennessee.
That was going to be my next question.
And
it was all over Twitter, and I texted Dave, and I said, what's going on with this bear?
And I can, with my 34 years with the agency, I can remember, 2 bears coming through West Tennessee. And which probably in the future we'll have more, because right over in Arkansas has a lot of bears.
Right.
And bears can swim, so they have a tendency every now and then to swim that river, Mississippi River.
But back in the '80s, we had a bear that came through West Tennessee, and we chased it all over the place. And it was funny because it headed through West Tennessee and kind of up towards Paris, Tennessee. And then it came back down through Tennessee, across the river, came back up. And it was finally hit by an automobile in North Alabama.
Wow.
And we named it Running Bear because it was just running all over the place.
Well, they've named this one Fraser Bear.
Yeah, and because it had an ear tag in.
Okay.
So we knew it was the bear. People see the number. And it's usually, when bears come through West Tennessee, it's usually easy to track them because of the beekeepers. It's something about. But I always, the second bear that came through, decade or so later, it came through and we chased it all over West Tennessee, and it went up about the same route. And we chased it. One of the cities in West Tennessee that we chased it all over the place was Paris, Tennessee.
Really?
And I always joked, well, it heads to Paris because, Paris is the home of the world's largest fish fry in the end of April. And it seems like this bear comes through in April, So I always kind of kidded that it was all that oil that was in the ground, that smells like fish. So they say, let's go to Paris.
As soon as you cross that county line, you can start smelling it.
But unfortunately, they caught that one, darted it and sent it back to Arkansas. And so the other day there was a report of one of the neighborhoods in Memphis, North Memphis, Fraser, that may be a bear, and since I am from Memphis, grew up down there and knew the neighborhood, so it's close to the Loosahatchee River bottom, so if one comes, but our officers and Memphis Animal Control officers and Memphis Police Department, they looked all over the place, but they if
They've been looking.
Yeah, so
he's a good hider.
Yeah, he's moved on, and so bears are native to West Tennessee.
Yeah.
And in fact, I can remember years ago that the agency maybe discussed putting bears back in West Tennessee, but
it did come up a few times.
But like I said, we leak too much down there. So when them river bottoms, but a lot of people don't. That's how Crockett, how he got his reputation as a bear hunter.
Right.
Because when he was a congressman, in between terms down there. Lived in West Tennessee. I was doing a little research project, and I come across a timeline that said in 1826, Crockett and his hunting companions in a 6-month period killed 104 black bears in West Tennessee.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's a lot of bears.
Yeah,
so,
he may have wiped them out now.
And but it's when you. I don't put anything strange when people call, say, hey, I've seen this. So we go out and look.
We'll investigate it,
yeah.
We'll make sure.
But
that's like some of the cougar sightings. People have always said, hey, there's cougars out there, there's panthers out there. But, until we confirmed it, and we have confirmed one, at least one is roaming around out there.
Because they're right across the river in the Boot Hill of Missouri, when you keeping talking with the other agencies, and,
right.
And they're keeping track of their population. So. And as low as the Mississippi River gets in the summertime, it's just a short hot skip and jump through that channel.
Yep.
To come across the river.
A little cooler in there.
Yeah.
Well, let's hit something else that you are a part of each week. I think it's each week. It airs on the radio there in Memphis. And
I help co-host a radio show out of Memphis with my good friend Larry Ray, who I said was the retired.
He's always been a big support for the agency.
Right. And we do a show, and Larry it's called Outdoors with Larry Ray. It's on one of the AM stations in Memphis down there. It's the old WMC 79, or now it's ESP 79. And it's AM. We still, and believe it or not, there is still AM out there.
Oh yeah, I listen to it every now and again.
And so we'll have a lot of interesting guests, through Larry's contacts, through the outdoor and outdoor media. We've had everybody from Kim Rhodey, Olympic champion, come on, and it's, you never know who he's got lined up, and I use a lot of the agency folks.
Right.
We talk a lot of the wildlife and stuff, so you never know what we're going to discuss down there.
What's some of the big stories y'all been talking about here lately? What's going to be coming up on some of the shows?
Probably, they cover a lot of the Bass Masters, tournaments and stuff, and he will have guests on with the latest outdoor type equipment that may be coming out.
And there's always something new there.
Of course, we'll be talking Free Fishing Day. We talk everything from shooting sports to fishing to hunting. And, one of the things about this, usually on the opening day of muzzleloading season and the opening day of turkey season, we will let Larry go to the woods. He will report from the woods.
Okay.
We call that our whispering show.
That's cool.
Because he'll call in and he's talking about it. And usually me and another one of the co-hosts, Gene Smith, one of our longtime hunter education gurus out of Memphis, who's in the studio with me. So we're letting Larry call in. He wants to take a turkey or a deer while he's on the radio, because he usually has somebody with him in the blind. And so it's
has it happened yet?
Not yet, because it's kind of daylight saving time always gets him. Because usually the muzzleloading season, daylight saving time doesn't start till the next weekend or the day after, and so that show airs from 6 to 7:30 in the morning. So it's not light enough,
right?
So he's really out there whispering in the dark. We give him, and then turkey season, it's after daylight saving time, so it's you got more light in the evenings than you do in the mornings. So, but it was a standing joke for years. We'd let him go on opening day turkey season. We'd have the biggest thunderstorms, come through West Tennessee. So it's kind of a joke with us, and I'm kind of practical joker sometimes, and
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And I said, if I could get away with it on that show, like muzzleloading season or turkey season when he's sitting in the blind, I would hire somebody in a Yeti costume, to cross out in front of him about 100 yards, so, just to get his reaction while he's on the air. But
that's funny.
But it's kind of I think Larry's show's been on for over a decade. I forget, and I've been part of it, for at least a decade. So.
Yeah, I know some folks from here have been on the show some. I know Don King's been on the show some, and Betsy from Boating Division, but we really appreciate him, him having you on there each week and co-hosting, and then having other guests come in, talk about what the agency's doing, and remind them again where they can listen. What station is it? What's the time?
It airs from 6 o'clock to 7:30 on Saturday mornings.
Okay.
On ESPN 790.
Okay.
It's the old WMC 79 AM channel.
How far does that reach?
It goes more north and south.
Okay.
We'll have people will call in sometimes all the way down into middle Mississippi to all the way in Missouri.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
The way that signal goes, it's more and all throughout West Tennessee. Up the Mississippi River Valley. We'll get a lot of people calling in, because when I'm there, it's like, hey, you got a question, run it by me. I'll tell you something.
Right. Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to run out of time here. I was going to ask you.
That's what you get to talking and doing something. And some people say, well, how can you talk for 30 minutes? Hey,
it's pretty easy. We didn't even get down to all the points on our list here, so we'll have to have you back and talk some more. Oh, yeah.
I got the face for, radio. I don't know about these WildCasts, though. But,
well, Tennessee WildCast can be listened to and watched, so we'll have to get you some makeup next time.
Okay, yeah.
I tell you what, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. TNWildlife.org is the best way to find us. You can listen and watch right there all the time. All the past shows are out there. And please continue to follow our social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're out there trying to get the information out to you. Thanks, Dave, for being on.
Oh, I enjoyed it.